Hello and welcome back. This is another fifth grade math video, and in this video, we're going to be looking at how to divide multi-digit numbers by single-digit numbers. Okay, so here is our first one, and throughout this video, I'm going to be showing you two different ways that we can do these long division problems. First way is with standard algorithm. The next way is something that is kind of referred to as the box method, but it is also can be called the row method. So we'll take a look at that in the next one. For this one, we're going to use a standard algorithm. And for the standard algorithm, we follow the steps: divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. Those are the four steps that we practice. So what we do is we take that first number, which is 99, we put it inside a division bracket. On the outside, we put the second number, which is 3. Our first step is to divide, so we want to figure out how many times 3 fits into 9. So if you already know this off the top of your head, great. If you don't, you could count by threes: 3, 6, 9, and you would get 3 3s. So I'm going to go ahead and put that 3 up there at the top, and that is the division step so far. Second step is multiplication. So what you want to do is take the number you just put on the top and multiply it by the number on the outside and loop it down over here. So 3 times 3 is 9. So that is the multiplication step. Up next is the subtraction step. Now what you're going to do is just subtract these two numbers you just put on top of each other. 9 minus 9 is 0. So that is the subtraction step. The next step is to bring down. So we're going to bring down this next number inside the bracket. So those are the 4 steps. And if you get through all 4 and you're still not finished, then you're going to repeat the steps. So we're going to go back up here to the division step and try to figure out how many times 3 fits into 9. And again, you can count by threes: 3, 6, 9, and you would get 3 3s. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 3 there and cross off the division step. Next step is to multiply. So that's the number I just put on the top times the number on the outside and looped down under here. 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm going to put that 9 there and then cross that off. Next step is division. Or sorry, not division, subtraction. So we're going to subtract those two, and that would be 9 minus 9, which is 0. So I'm going to cross off the subtraction step. Now I have B, bring down. Well, you can see there's no more numbers underneath the bracket for me to bring down. So I get to skip that step, and that is a signal that we are done. So 99 divided by 3 would be 33. Okay, here's our next example. This is 52 divided by 8. So I'm going to show you this method, or this row or box method for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some rows here, and I'm going to put a line here. So it kind of looks like one of those lined pieces of paper. We are dividing by 8, so I'm going to put divided by 8 up here at the top. Now the number we're dividing by 8, I'm going to split it up by place values and spread it along the side. So 52 is 5 and 2. Okay, so here's how we do this. First, we try to see how many groups of 8 we can get from 5. So if you want to draw 5 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can do that, and then circle groups. Or if you like to use kind of a repeated subtraction model, you could take 5 and minus 8 from that. Now that's something you can't do, right? We can't take 5 and subtract 8. So that is not going to work. So we're going to put a 0 up here because that didn't work. And then we're going to put that 5 down here in front of the 2. So now again, we have 52 that we have to fit 8 groups into. So you could draw 52 dots and make groups of 8 if you wanted to, or you could kind of use a repeated subtraction model to try to figure that out. So 52 minus 8, let's see what that would be. I want to say, and I'm not too great at doing subtraction in my head when it involves regrouping, I think it's going to be something ending in a 4. Yep, 44. So we still have a lot left over, so we're going to subtract 8 again. And then 44 minus 8 is 36. So we're going to keep subtracting 8. So 36 minus 8 is 28. Now this one I know, 28 minus 8 is 20. Then I have to take 20, and I'm just going to write it again down here, minus 8. Let's see, 20 minus 8 should be 12. Good. And then minus 8 again equals 4. Now I can't subtract any more 8s. So what I do here is I count how many 8s I subtracted. So let's go through and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like I had 6 8s that I subtracted. So that's going to go up here. If I have anything left over, which I do, there's 4 right there, that becomes the remainder. So this answer becomes 6 remainder 4. Okay, here is our next one. It's 5,655 divided by 8. For this one, I'm going to use the standard algorithm, divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. And I'm going to put that first number, 5,655, inside a division bracket and put 8 on the outside. So I'm going to start by asking myself, how many times does 8 fit into 5? And the answer is 0. If I have 5 of something, I can't make a group of 8 out of it. So I'm going to 0 there, cross off division. Next step is multiplication, where I'm going to take the number I just put on the top, multiply by the number on the outside, and loop it back down. So 0 times 8 is 0. So that's the multiplication step. Next step is to subtract. So I'm going to go ahead and do 5 minus 0, which is 5. Next step is to bring down. So I'm going to bring down that 6 and put it here. And I have completed all 4 steps. Now it's time to go back and repeat the steps because I'm not quite done yet. So I'm going to pick a different color so the second step stands out a little bit more. I'm going to ask myself how many times 8 fits into 56. Well, I know that 8 times 7 is exactly 56. So I think that's going to work. And I'm going to put that up there and cross off the division step. Next step is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply the number I just put on the top times the number on the outside, and that is exactly 56. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that off. Next step is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract those two numbers, and I get 0 left over. Next step is to bring down. So I'm going to bring down that other 5 and place it right there. Okay, time to repeat the steps again. So let's try this. How many times does 8 fit into 5? That answer is going to be 0, right? Because we asked ourselves that earlier in the problem. So I'm going to put a 0 up there and cross off the division step. Now I'm going to take the 0 I just put up there, multiply it by the 8, and loop it down here so that that is 0. Cross off the multiplication step. Next step is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract this, and I would get 5 left over. And then I'm going to bring down that next 5. So I've completed the steps again. I'm still not quite done. So I'm going to go back around and ask myself how many times 8 fits into 55. Well, we know that 8 times 7 is 56. So that's 1 too much. So let's take it down to 8 times 6. So I'm going to put 6 here. Okay, I'm going to cross that off. Whoops, thought I was going to cross that off. There we go. Okay, number on the top times number on the outside and loop it down should be 48. I'm going to kind of put it off to the side here just so I have space. Okay, next step is to subtract. So I need to do 55 minus 48. And let's see, 55 minus 48. Again, I'm not great at subtraction with regrouping in my head, so I'm doing it off to the side. Ends up being 7. So I'm going to cross that off. There are no more numbers to bring down, so I'm going to cross that off, and that tells me also that I am finished. So the answer here would be 706 with a remainder of 7. Okay, here is the next one. I'm going to show you this one using the line or row method. So I'm going to go ahead and make some rows here. Hopefully I make enough. We need as many rows as we have digits in our first bigger number. So hopefully there's enough there. Divide by 8. I'll put that up there. And then I'm going to go ahead and spread out this number. 5, 8, 7, 6, 9. Okay, so there's our number and we're dividing by 8. So if I was to draw 5 objects here, I could not make a group of 8 out of that. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 at the top, because that first number did not work. And I'm going to move that number down here in front of the 8. So now I need to figure out how many times 8 goes into 58. So like I showed you in the last one where we did this, we could do repeated subtraction, but it gets kind of messy. Or if you want, what you could do is say, well, okay, I know that 8 times 7 equals 56. So what you could do is put 7 up here and take this 58 and minus 56, and you would get 2 left over. So that's a shortcut you could use if you'd like. You could also make a list of 8s and then count how many 8s it took you to get close to 58 without going past 58. So there's a few different ways that you could do that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 2 and I'm going to place it in front of the 7. Okay, so now I need to figure out how many times 8 goes into 27. Well, I know that 8 times 3 is 24. So maybe I'm going to use that. I'm going to do 27 minus 24, which gives me 3. So I'm going to put 3 up here. It was 3 8s that got me 24. Then I'm going to take this 3 and loop it down in front of the 6. Okay, so I know that 8 times 3 is 24. Let's see what 8 times 4 is. 8 times 4 is 32. Okay, I think that's pretty close to 36 without going past 36. So I'm going to subtract 32 from that, and I would get 4 left over. So that was 4 8s that brought me to 32. So I'm going to put that 4 up there. And then I'm going to take this 4 that was left over and loop it back in front of the 9. Okay, so we know that 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 6 is 48. So I think that's as close to 49 as we're going to get without going over it. So we're going to subtract 48 from that, which would give us 1 left over. So we put the 6 up here. And now we have no more numbers to put that in front of. So we're going to call it the remainder. So this answer would be 7,346 with a remainder of 1. Okay, here's our last one for today's video. So we're going to use the standard algorithm for this. That means we're going to use the steps divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. We're going to take that first number, 38,326, put it inside a division bracket and put 6 on the outside. Now 6 does not fit into 3. So I'm going to put a 0 there. That's the division step. 0 times 6 is 0. Okay, multiplication. 3 minus 0 is 3. That's subtraction. Now I'm going to bring down this 8. Okay, so that's the first round of steps. Here, I'll go to this color. Okay. How many times do we think 6 fits into 38? Well, I think it fits 6 times because 6 times 6 is 36. So 6 up here, that's division. 6 times 6 is 36, like we talked about. Cross that off. Subtract, we get 2 left over. And then we're going to bring down the 3. So there's another round of steps. Okay, here's the next one. How many times does 6 go into 23? Well, I know 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. And 6 times 4 is 24. So that's a little bit too much. We're going to go with 3. So that's division. 3 times 6 is 18. That's a multiplication step. Subtraction means 23 minus 18, which is 5. Then I'm going to bring down the 2. Okay, so I've gone through another round of steps now. Okay, now 6 fits into 52. Let's think about that. 6 times 10 would be 60, so it's a little too much. 6 times 9 is 54, still too much. 6 times 8 should work. So I'm going to put an 8 here. 6 times 8 is 48. When I subtract those, I think I end up with 4. Awesome, down there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring down the 6. And then that's our next round of steps. And I forgot to cross them off as I was going, but that is the next round. Okay, let's do one more round. And let's see, 6 goes into 46. Well, we know 6 times 8 is 48. That's a little too much. So let's do 6 times 7, which is 42. I'm going to subtract it this way just for the sake of having a little bit more room. So that was division and multiplication. Subtraction would give us 4 left over, and there's no more numbers to bring down. So the answer to this would be 6,387 with a remainder of 4. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope to see you in another video soon.